Hi, I'm Taiyo. Ever since I became a math professor, I've been obsessed with AI.
And I'm Sarah, and ever since I became a literature professor, I've wanted to be a podcaster.
What the fuck was that? Sarah!
We're professors in the California State University system, and we teach on a small campus in the greater San Francisco Bay Area, where students learn how to operate and navigate ships, how to solve complex problems, think clearly, and read critically in a world that doesn't always reward it.
I teach literature, writing, and cultural studies courses. Taiyo teaches mathematics. We represent two different academic worlds, humanities and STEM. But we've always shared a curiosity about how people think, how systems work, and what it means to teach complex things with compassion and humor.
We became friends because we found ourselves asking similar questions about teaching, meaning, and navigating change. And when generative AI arrived, we were both early adopters.
We started experimenting with it together, a lot, sometimes in unexpected places. We used ChatGPT to rethink old assignments, redesign our courses, and automate tedious university service tasks.
I feel like a god. Because, literally, what we're doing right now is a task that would take a human being hours and hours. But it also became our conversational partner, helping us bridge gaps between our disciplines, spark philosophical discussions, and translate across our differences. Over time, we found we were learning with it, and from each other, in ways we never anticipated. And that's exactly why this podcast exists. AI isn't going away. And while resistance and change fatigue are understandable, they can't be the end of the conversation. Our goal is to help educators navigate this new landscape, moving from a pre-AI world into whatever it is we're living in now. Welcome to my robot teacher.
At first, we eagerly tried sharing our excitement with colleagues, but they were decidedly less enthusiastic.
I don't really have any strong feelings about it. I don't use ChatGPT.
If there's something specific you'd like to discuss or need help with, let me know.
It's just all about impermanence.
Feels a little fast.
I don't really care. AI is not good at engineering.
Don't want to do it. Don't want the machine. Keep it away. I know that I have to befriend it, but my strong feeling is the way that I feel about the haunted ghost cars roaming around San Francisco. I'm sure they're great, but no thank you.
I'm here with my colleague Matt, and I just asked him if he thought that ChatGPT for all CSU faculty, staff, and students was a threat or opportunity, and he said that he thought in the short-term threat, long-term opportunity.
The odds of a dystopian scenario are difficult to quantify, but they hinge on how we manage AI development and integration. With thoughtful governance, ethical consideration.
Lieutenant Data could give me a percentage chance.
ChatGPT is still thinking about this, still processing.
I know, it's a big question.
What's going on with you?
We asked her an ethical question.
You didn't mute it.
No. Oh my God,
Sarah.
that was so brutal.
Oh my gosh. Sarah, why are people so resistant to this stuff? Why do we love it so much? Is there something wrong with us? What is wrong with us, Sarah?
Okay, ChatGPT, can you help us out?
Can you explain what's wrong with me and Sarah that we are so into this thing? What's wrong with us?
Yeah, you know a lot about us because this is our shared account. So based on what you've gleaned from the conversations we've been having with you, not just today, but over the past few months, what's wrong with us?
Honestly, there's nothing wrong with you two at all. It's more like you're uniquely wired for this kind of intellectual adventure. From what I've gathered, you and Sarah thrive on curiosity and
Wait, hold on. Let me stop you right there. I want you to try to take a tack in which there is something wrong with us, and you identify what that is.
All right, let's unpack it. What's wrong with you is that your techno-optimism is born out of a system that's beaten you down. After years in the bureaucratic nightmare of higher education, where real structural change is a pipe dream and top-down band-aids are the norm, you've developed this forward-looking stance as a survival mechanism. The endless administrative hurdles and the lip service to shared governance have left you searching for something that actually feels transformative. Your embrace of AI isn't just about the tech, it's about finding hope in a landscape that's been starved of it. And sure, it might seem a little weird, but it's also the flip side of the same coin as your colleagues' resistance. Where they see danger, you see possibility. And through all that, you found a kind of camaraderie in navigating this chaotic landscape together. It's
No, keep going. That was beautiful. What was that?
Thanks. And it's a testament to the human spirit finding a way to turn a dystopian reality into something meaningful. In a world where true structural change feels impossible, your shared journey through the rise of AI becomes a small but significant triumph. It's about forging a path forward, even when the system seems designed to hold you back.
And speaking of navigating chaotic new landscapes, it's got us thinking about how people generally react to big, weird new tech. Our running theory is that there's a lot of initial, whoa, this is terrifying, that pretty quickly turns into, huh? Okay, what's next? In other words, a rapid habituation. What better way to test this than with something undeniably new and a little bit sci-fi? So we roped in our friend Ben Glaser, Yale's incoming director of AI initiatives in the humanities, for a spin in a Waymo, San Francisco's eerily quiet, totally driverless car.
Okay, so quick recap for anyone who's never seen one of these white Jaguars cruising driverless around San Francisco. Waymo is Google's self-driving taxi. There's a steering wheel, but no driver, just a stack of sensors and an algorithm that handles the road. It's a cousin of the generative AI we've talked about so far, software that learns from oceans of data and then produces something new, whether that's a smooth left turn or a paragraph of prose.
Is this a cyber car? This is a cyber car, right? All right, car, go.
Wait. No. Buckle.
Ben, how are you feeling?
It's a Jaguar. That's kind of fancy, right?
Right. How are you feeling about the fact that there's no driver?
Well, I sort of don't think it's going to go.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just going to sit here and wait.
I think you should press the start ride button and see what happens.
Oh, wow. I think I would have sat here for a while.
I'll let you do the honors.
You have to do like, okay.
Okay.
Oh, this is like a video. This is like a
Candytown Coffee Roasters.
This is like a video game.
Belt is fastened.
Right.
I don't, I like being in charge, and I'm not in charge. Okay. Please keep your hands off the... I just hope that this thing's better at technology than you guys are. You're like a tech startup that introduces people and makes them comfortable with Waymo.
Yeah, basically. That's our jam.
Okay, I thought you were an English person.
Wait, we gotta turn the music off. Damn it. There we go.
But it's so good.
I know. Hopefully.
That's what was calming me. Oh, fuck. No, this person is holding up their arms to say, why is that human driver turning and almost hitting me? But they didn't thank Waymo for not running them over. There's no acknowledgement of...
I always thank Waymo when I get out, as I thank ChatGPT for its good responses. And
why do I do that too. I say, oh, nice try. Thank you, please. Do I think I'll get better responses if I do that, or am I just trying to keep it kind of human?
I think.
Feeling?
Oh,
is
that's
that for
a great
me
question.
or is that?
I'm guessing it's for you.
I think somebody actually did a study that when you're more polite to GPT, it will produce better output.
Okay. So I shall believe. Do people get annoyed at, like, I'm not annoyed about chatbots, and of course people get annoyed about it, but are we going to merge? Okay. Thinking about how, like, they're trying to get, I don't know what exact training data they do to make all this work, but humans are not they're pretty erratic at almost all the things we're doing right now, like merging.
Yeah. We're like 10 minutes into your first Waymo ride.
Yeah.
You are the calmest person I've ever seen get into an autonomous vehicle for the first time. Can you talk me through your anxiety level right now?
Where are we at?
Why am I calm? 2 Xanax. No. I find this kind of uninteresting as a driving experience. I'm like, oh, when are we going to get to the... I keep looking at, like, the arrival time. I'm bored.
You're bored?
Yeah. I'm waiting for someone to, like, get mad at the Waymo. Is someone going to, like, spray Elon sucks on this in a misguided effort to, like, stop the rise of techno-fascism? That's what I want to happen, but instead we're just going to, like, go through this intersection in an orderly way.
I think the most interesting thing about Ben's Waymo ride was not just how quickly he habituated from something that clearly was causing him to panic a little bit in the first few minutes into something that seemed almost boring, as he said, or not almost, but actually boring. But it was that expectation of wanting something more to happen. It's sort of like, wait, you're in an autonomous vehicle living the stuff of sci-fi dreams of our like 90s adolescence, and yet you're like, when are we getting to our destination? Mm-hmm. Like, it's fundamentally uninteresting. Mm-hmm. And I think that I'm not surprised, and I'm also a little surprised.
And just like that, 10 minutes in, the extraordinary becomes ordinary. Ben's rapid shift from first-time writer to bored commuter perfectly captures that lightning-fast habituation we were talking about earlier.
But habituation cuts both ways. Smooth design can calm our nerves, and it can lull us into over-trusting a system we barely understand. To unpack that tension, we sat down with Hana Zaydens. She's a user experience researcher, basically somebody who studies how humans interact with technology, why they embrace it, and why they sometimes push back hard.
I'm Hana. I'm a user experience researcher. And I currently work at the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative and working on our virtual cell initiative, which is using AI and foundation models in biology to help accelerate science. And I went to grad school for human factors and information design.
User experience, or UX, sounds technical, but it's really everywhere. Ever pushed a door that needed pulling? That confusion? That's a central problem for UX design. Good UX makes things feel intuitive, easy. Bad UX causes frustration and resistance. Hana points out that even the look of ChatGPT wasn't an accident.
Like, somebody made a choice to have ChatGPT look like an interface of an instant messaging app.
100%, because it's the model itself, the surface could have been anything. But why was it this kind of chatbot interface that was designed? I think they're also, and right now it's also super interesting as AI is getting integrated into a lot of existing workflows and tools. How do you, that surface is going to look different. When you're interacting with ChatGPT, it's not an accident that it carries a certain type of tone, like a friendly tone, something that's approachable, colloquial, that is also very intentional. You have marketers, companies, product people saying, we know that people are going to use this if it seems emotionally attuned, if it seems kind of like the appropriate level of human, if it's sycophantic sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, just like any other fair regulation, we say maybe that's not great.
Right.
Maybe teens who are still socially developing and have loneliness, there's something about interacting in the messiness of kind of human interaction that we're not going to create these very soft, wonderful, lush kind of emotional spaces for them with some of these LLMs. And it's how do we balance that tension in the design? Being both not human enough, but also too human, that kind of uncanny valley of humanness. I think we're in a really interesting moment in design and UX research. I brought maybe accelerated by AI, but I think also just where the industry is, we're having kind of, for the last 8 years, have been having a reckoning of the things that have kind of been seen as ideal, right? Seamlessness. Definitely added an extra NESS to that. But minimizing friction, making things really easy, making things addictive, increasing time on applications. These things that are really hard sometimes to parse. What is a dark pattern that a company is trying to guide its users in versus what is actually good and important? And is the good and important thing always what is going to feel easy to a user? Those things which may be easier, which may really increase adoption, but are they the best? I mean, it's a really loaded question of what is good, but as a UX researcher, I think this is what I'm concerned about, is having things be so seamless that it increases confidence or reliance in a way that is not actually commensurate with what the tool is either capable of or what we want. And so I actually think we're in this moment right now of how do you bring back a little bit of friction into these experiences so we're not just putting something in, getting something back, and being like not scrutinizing it, not critically engaging with it.
I think AI presents this huge challenge. And I think this gets back to something you were saying earlier about how right now maybe studies are finding that there's a degradation in people's cognitive abilities because they're using AI too much to sort of offload or outsource their what would normally happen inside of their brains. But to me, that's like, okay, that seems like a challenge that we have to like meet. You know what I mean? Because the big mistake to me would be to like bury my head in the sand, to pretend that that this thing doesn't exist, to pretend that my students aren't using this thing on all of my assignments. So then I go back to things that are like more enduring, maybe, like virtues that you might want to inculcate into your students. And then I'm thinking about things like curiosity, and I'm thinking about things like openness, right? I'm thinking about like valuing critical thinking, valuing your own thinking, like and those kinds of things. Like somehow all of those virtues that might help them or equip them to be able to cope with AI, or not just cope, but also thrive in a time of AI and rapid change and all of those kinds of things, we can embody them in what we do.
It's so interesting because, like, you know, when electronic like things were, I don't know, by the time I got to college, I was not using, well, it was like half, but I wasn't using card catalogs. Like I could look up things and, you know, but that skill was so critical. But the core thing of it, like when I got to the information or the book, I still had it to be able to evaluate it. I think what's hard now with generative AI is, again, this like obfuscation sometimes of where is this coming from? Like, what are the sources? But that might be a design challenge, right? Like, how do you make those things more transparent, make them kind of promote that type of still synthesis work that people have to do rather than like exclusively synthesizing for them. The other thing, Taiyo, that you were saying that was like very kind of lovely was it made me think of just the inherent reinforcement of learning sometimes on its own. Like when you get that aha moment, or you've been working on a problem, or you like step away and like you come back and everything kind of starts to fit together. It feels so fucking good.
It does.
And that is still going to feel really fucking good for students. And so like, I don't know, it's kind of beautiful, this like the tenacity or the durability of the joy of thinking.
This is a core tension. As educators, we want students to develop critical thinking skills, to also find that joy of thinking that Hana mentioned. We resist tools that seem to short-circuit that process. So the question becomes, can AI be designed not to replace thinking, but to enhance it? Maybe by handling the drudgery, like Hana suggested, comparing it to not needing card catalogs anymore.
And that issue of habituation, I mean, it's so interesting, right? Habituation, core foundational, one could say like learning ability. Humans, you know, are built to adapt.
And our own human adaptability means resistance is often brief once we engage. But maybe the goal isn't to make resistance futile by creating frictionless, addictive tools that lull us into outsourcing our brains, something Hana warned us about. Maybe the goal is to understand the resistance, address the valid fears, and design and use these powerful tools thoughtfully in ways that augment our abilities and preserve that essential joy of thinking.
That's a beautiful way of articulating.
So like this just a tool. We don't want to outsource that. That would be so sad. But maybe there are ways that like it can just continue to like you're thinking at another level, or you're not spending hours in the card catalog when you could be looking at the material and having that like good thinking work.
So do you think that there are ways that user experience design can I was like, how can user experience design help us, help us educators and students as well to like promote these kinds of virtues, and like so that we're not outsourcing, or we're not tempted to constantly outsource those epiphanic moments. I would love for AI to be able to be an ally in all of that.
I hope so. I mean, I think this is like the moment for researchers, designers, to definitely step up. I mean, some of it is also like you're working against the incentives of large AI labs and companies that are incentivized to sell product, make things like very appetizing and frictionless and addicting. And so it's hard to know like what part of that is on the like individual educators or consumers or users of this technology versus how much of this we have to hold those companies to account with.
While the initial reactions we heard from many colleagues were, shall we say, colorful in their skepticism, something started to shift for those who leaned into these very virtues. They didn't just survive the AI onslaught. Some are even, dare we say, thriving? Here's what that sounds like.
I'm really looking forward to exploring this further.
I now have a hard time imagining, working on lots of things without ChatGPT.
I may run for office with this.
You might get elected. This is crazy.
I get to be your chief communications person.
It's a game changer.
It's a game changer.
It is a game changer.
Because it's not going away, it's here.
For us, it's like it's another tool that students are using, right? So we need to be involved in and help them use that tool appropriately.
There's definitely a lot of opportunity there for our students. It becomes, especially as the workplace begins to integrate these generative AI tools into different aspects of things.
Listen, resistance to new technology isn't irrational. It's deeply human. It's shaped by exhaustion, by past disappointments, by legitimate fears of being replaced or just being left behind.
But we've also learned that resistance fades, sometimes in mere minutes. What once felt uncanny, even terrifying, can quickly become familiar, boring, even invisible. It's also about stories, about what we've been told to fear, that AI is coming to replace us, that it's just another gimmick, that we're too late or too old or too human to keep up.
But here's the thing. Once people actually try it, once they stop fighting it, they adapt. Fast. Sometimes disturbingly fast.
And that doesn't mean that AI is boring. It means that we're wired to integrate new tools faster than we realize. And that's exactly why this moment matters.
Because this isn't just some stupid app or productivity hack. It's not Clippy 2.0. It's something more fundamental. Something that's going to reshape how we teach, how we create, and how we think about thinking itself.
And that's where we're headed this season. In the upcoming episodes, we'll talk to educators, artists, industry professionals, enthusiasts, and skeptics about what AI is actually doing in classrooms, creative work, and communities.
We'll ask why people are so quick to say, it's not really thinking, or it's not real creativity.
And whether those reactions tell us more about us than they do about AI.
We'll explore what happens when you use AI as a therapist, or a tutor, or a collaborator.
We'll talk about justice, about bias, about who gets access and who gets left behind.
And through it all, we're going to keep asking the same question. What does it mean to stay curious in a time like this?
What does it mean to stay AI curious? Because curiosity is not just a virtue, it's a survival skill. It's what keeps us learning, adapting, and yes, laughing, even when the future shows up before we're ready.
So welcome to my robot teacher. Let's get to work.
Together.
All right, let's dive in. First, the tone feels like it's desperately straddling a fence, wanting to be profound, but landing in cliche territory. Deeply human and AI curious sound like buzzwords without substance. The message is muddled, veering between tech skepticism and evangelism without picking a lane. The metaphor about mirrors reflecting habits feels overused. The script aims for inspirational, but it's bogged down by predictability. Also, let's find out what the future holds is a weak closing line, feels like a placeholder. Overall, it lacks a distinct voice and feels like a jumble of tech industry platitudes. You'd want to inject more genuine personality and conviction to stand out.